afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, Vice President Sara Duterte back in the Philippines after nearly a month in The Hague. Pope Francis makes his first public appearance in 2 weeks. Max Verstappen holds off the McLaren duo of Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri to win the Japanese Grand Prix. And in Mexico, thousands turn out for a national boxing class. We begin at the Vatican, where Pope Francis makes a surprise appearance to greet crowds in St. Peter's Square. Seated in a wheelchair with an oxygen tube under his nose, the pontiff came out to the square at the end of a special Jubilee Year Mass. He also made a brief statement, though in a still frail voice.
Buona domenica a tutti. Grazie tante.
This is the Pope's first public appearance since being discharged from hospital 2 weeks ago. Francis spent more than 5 weeks in hospital due to double pneumonia. Well-wishers expressed their joy in unexpectedly seeing the Pope.
I love Pope, and I am very glad to be there. So everything was very, very special for me.
It was a beautiful experience. I started crying. I never imagined I would be able to be here, and it was, I don't know how to explain it. It was just a feeling that I have no words for it.
French President Emmanuel Macron strolls through a famous bazaar in Cairo. He was accompanied by the country's president Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, with the two even dining at a cafe in the market. This is part of Macron's 3-day visit to Egypt, where he will take part in a summit with Sisi and Jordan's King Abdullah about the war in Gaza. The French leader also took time for a private visit to the new Grand Egyptian Museum, which will be inaugurated in July. Days after Trump's reciprocal tariffs on U.S. imports jolted economies around the world, countries have reached out to the White House to begin trade talks. That's according to Trump's top economic advisor, Kevin Hassett. He told ABC News he does not expect consumers to take a big hit, as he expects exporters to lower their prices. He also denies the tariffs were part of a strategy by Trump to crash financial markets to pressure the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates.
He's not trying to take the market. He's trying to deliver for American workers. And I mean, what would you have him do? Again, real wages down 15 years in a row under the previous policy, and that's why Americans voted for him. They brought him in to turn the economy around for the American worker, and that's what he's focused on.
Vice President Sara Duterte is back in the Philippines after nearly a month in The Hague, in the Netherlands. She arrived at the NAIA Sunday night via an Emirates flight. Her office says she is expected to address any pertinent matters in the coming days. The VP flew to The Hague on March 12 to visit her detained father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, who is facing crimes against humanity charges before the ICC. The VP also faces a Senate trial here in the Philippines after being impeached by House lawmakers in February. Senate President Cheese Escudero says cabinet officials will attend the next Senate hearing on the arrest of former President Duterte. That's after they skipped last week's inquiry, citing executive privilege. Hanati reports.
Members of the executive branch will face the Senate this week. No subpoenas needed. That's according to Senate President Cheese Escudero. In a radio interview, he said cabinet officials have committed to appear at the next hearing on the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte, led by Senator Amy Marcos. It's scheduled on April 10. Escudero says he himself facilitated talks between the executive and the Senate to avoid escalating tensions and a possible constitutional crisis. It was Senator Amy who earlier pressed for subpoenas due to absences from key officials in the last probe. But Escudero didn't sign the request last week and instead referred it to the Senate legal team. Escudero says there's no need for subpoena powers or clashes over executive privilege. He adds what matters is that questions will be answered. CIDG Chief General Nicolas Torre, who led Duterte's arrest, is expected to face the panel again. This will be the Senate's third hearing on the government's alleged cooperation with the ICC's drug war probe. Hannah T., Billionario News Channel.
Another incident of Chinese harassment in the West Philippine Sea. Authorities say a Chinese Coast Guard vessel engaged in reckless and dangerous maneuvers against the BRP Cabra. Those include an attempted head-on collision with a smaller Coast Guard vessel. But Coast Guard spokesperson Commodore J. Tariela notes the BRP Cabra has pushed the Chinese Coast Guard ship further away to some 92 to 96 nautical miles off the coast of Capones Island. Tariela asserts they remain steadfast in challenging the Chinese Coast Guard's illegal patrol. Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla vows no special treatment for Russian YouTuber Vitaly Zhidorowetsky. Remulla gave that assurance as he presented the vlogger before the media this morning. Zhidorowetsky was arrested last week after harassing Filipinos at the Bonifacio Global City. He is detained at the Bureau of Immigration's facility in Taguig, pending deportation. The Gabriela Women's Party List wants the Supreme Court to take action against a Pasig congressional candidate who made a misogynistic joke during a campaign sortie. Joash Malimban joins us from Manila for the details. Joash, go ahead.
Mai Gabriela Women's Party List filed a complaint before the Supreme Court today, calling for a probe into the misogynistic remarks of Pasig congressional candidate attorney Ian Sia. This comes after a video went viral last week where he mentioned a joke about single moms. In an interview on Billionario News Channel's Agenda last Friday, Sia admitted that it was not the first time he said the joke. He claimed that he did not expect the video to go viral, thinking that a barangay caucus was an appropriate avenue for such remarks. He also accused the camp of Pasig Mayor Vico Soto of politicizing the issue. The COMELEC has already issued a show cause order against Sia, asking him to explain why he should not be disqualified or charged with an election offense for allegedly violating the anti-discrimination guidelines of the poll body. Gabriela called to end all forms of violence against women and urged authorities to uphold the integrity and the rights of solo parents. Mai.
George, I believe the COMELEC also issued a show cause order today against another candidate. Can you tell us more about that?
That's right, Mai. The poll body issued a show cause order against Misamis Oriental Governor Peter Onabia. He is accused of making discriminatory and gender-based discrimination remarks during a campaign event on April 3. He's also given 3 days to explain why he should not be charged with an election offense or a disqualification case before the Commission on Elections. Mai.
Thank you, George Malimban, reporting to us live from Manila. After Manibella's protest last month, another transport group takes to the streets to voice concerns over the PUV modernization program. Paolo Barcelon joins us on the line for this. Paolo?
Mai, good afternoon. According to the drivers we talked to in Quezon City, they will hold a noise barrage in the Cubao area this afternoon before proceeding to the Transport Department's office in San Juan at around 3 p.m. One of the drivers we talked to, Artemio Pinheiro, said that the reason for the protest is to ask for more concrete solutions both from local governments and the Transport Department to allow unconsolidated traditional jeepneys to continue plying their routes. Piston National President Modi Floranda earlier said that the DOTR will review their concerns and check if their provisional authorities can still be renewed. A provisional authority is important for drivers and operators, as without this document, they will be considered colorum or illegally operating. Mai?
Thank you for that report, Paolo Barcelon. Keep us posted. We're taking a break. Up next, Max Verstappen wins the Japanese Grand Prix for the 4th straight year. That and more when Newsfeed at Noon returns. back on Newsfeed at noon. Max Verstappen remains the king of the Japanese Grand Prix for the fourth straight year. The Red Bull superstar crossed the line for his 64th Grand Prix victory in Suzuka to a huge ovation from a crowd of more than 115,000. A podium finish as well for the McLaren tandem of Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri at second and third, respectively. Meanwhile, hometown bet Yuki Tsunoda made his Red Bull debut with a 12th place finish. With the NBA's regular season ending in a week, the Los Angeles Lakers put on another surprising show as it takes down top seed, the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Lakers cruised past OKC with a commanding 126-99 victory in Oklahoma. Luka Doncic had a stellar performance, finishing with 30 points, including 5 triples. Austin Reeves scored 20 points, while LeBron James, initially listed as probable, added 19. The Thunder have already clinched the top spot in the Western Conference going into the playoffs. The Lakers are in third place. In the UAAP Women's Volleyball, the Adamson Lady Falcons with a statement victory as the Final Four race heats up. The Lady Falcons stunned the defending champs, the NU Lady Bulldogs, in 4 thrilling sets. Adamson super rookie Shaina Nitura had a monster game, 32 points, her fourth 30-point outing this season. Adamson is tied with the Ateneo Blue Eagles with a 4-7 win-loss record. NU remains on top with 9 wins and 2 losses. In the first game, the FEU Lady Tamaraws also keeping their semis bid alive by escaping the UP Lady Maroons in 4. FEU is also tied with the USD Golden Tigresses with an identical 7-4 record. UP is at 5-6. The Meralco Bolts charged through a perfect start so far in the PBA Philippine Cup. The Bolts put the brakes on the Terra Firma Jeep by 38 huge points, 118-80. CJ Cancino led Meralco with 19 points, while best player of the game, Bong Quinto, chipped in 13 markers. Meralco begins the All-Filipino Conference with a 2-0 win-loss record. In the next game, the Converge Fiber Xers get their first dub of the conference against the Phoenix Fuel Masters, 92-83. Alex Stockton top scored for Converge with 18 points. Best player of the game, Justin Baltazar, had 9 points and ruled the boards with a game-high 16 rebounds. In entertainment, the Eraserheads won't be in full force ahead of their much-awaited headlining concert next month. In a statement, frontman Eli Buendia says lead guitarist Marcos Adoro is stepping back from its upcoming project to address sexual abuse allegations against him. Eli also says the band condemns all criminal acts and stand against abuse of any form. The Eraserheads' much-awaited Electric Fun Music Festival happens on May 31 in Parañaque. We're taking another breather still to come. Mexico holds a massive boxing class as part of a campaign to fight illegal drugs. The details after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. History is made in Mexico, where thousands attend a national boxing class. Held at Mexico City's Zocalo Square, the event was part of a campaign to combat drug use and violence among the youth. Boxing legends Julio Cesar Chavez, Oscar de la Hoya, and Roberto Duran led the record-breaking event, which is now said to be the largest national boxing class in history. Two of the biggest names in Italian fashion could soon unite. Reports say Prada is set to make a decision this week about a potential takeover of Versace. The price tag is said to be 1 billion euros, one-third lower than initial estimates. The deal comes as Versace has been operating at a loss. Last month, Donatella Versace stepped down as the main designer for the brand after almost 3 decades. She was replaced by former Miu Miu designer Dario Vitali. And before we go, a couple of exhibits in Europe showcase artworks that's proudly Pinoy. Here's a look from our France correspondent, Dick Villanueva.
Filipino artistry taking center stage in the two separate art exhibits in Europe. In Paris, 14 Filipino painters showcased their artworks at an international art gallery. The concept of their pieces revolves around the theme, One Apple, One Love. According to artist and organizer Lovely Albarracin, the apple symbolizes two things, love and sin, based on the story of Adam and Eve.
Ito kasing apple na to, nag-start to nung nag-start ako nag-painting apple. History of Adam and Eve, normal. But the apple is symbolized of love. Then the other part is sin. But I gave the positive side, which is love. So doon nag-start yon. So and apple is, yung shape niya, it's heart shape. That's why it gives love.
Also featured in the exhibit is a masterpiece of Siningning Ali, a native of Quezon Province and the 2024 Leonardo da Vinci International Prize awardee. Another source of Filipino pride is Rochelle Rivera, an independent visual artist in the Philippines. She was included in the Female Artist of the World featured on the iconic Times Square billboard in New York on February 14, 2024.
Bilang isang pintor, marami ako mga nag-inspirasyong obra at mga maestro pintor na kilala sa buong mundo. Those are European artists na gaya ni Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Johannes Vermeer, Claude Monet, and Vincent van Gogh.
This piece by Filipino artists who also work as a baker in a well-known bake shop in Paris also caught the attention of many. Another art exhibit was recently held at the Philippine Embassy in The Hague, Netherlands, called La Mode Moi. Artists used the Filipiniana dress as their canvas, which was then featured on the runway by fashion models. The event was spearheaded by the Philippine Embassy in The Hague, led by Ambassador Jose Eduardo Malaya. According to Cheloni Mercado, artist and organizer of the event, La Mode Moi is dedicated to women around the world. She said women's contributions to all fields, including arts, are immeasurable. Dick Villanueva, Billionaire News Channel, Paris, France.
And those are the news this hour. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Keep it here on the Billionaire News Channel. Good afternoon.